It's the early hours of the morning and your alarm clock goes off. It's so loud you hate the sound of it. It's like a shockwave going through your body. And even though you know it's coming, you're never really ready for it. Your head is already aching and the thought of you getting ready for work is already irritating. So you hit the snooze button. You try to get back in your cozy dream, but you think, what if I didn't get up? What if I just didn't go to work? And your to-do list just flashes before your eyes and you can't get back to sleep, and then the worry just overwhelms you. Your brain is constantly paying attention to your heart rate, your breathing, how tense you are, and your body reacts accordingly to your emotions. Many of us fear our emotions, like an alter ego that likes to take charge from time to time of the steering wheel, driving you in a location that you do not want to go to. And when I think about it, I've never really paid attention to mine. If you asked me a few years ago, I'd have told you that I'm in full control of my emotions. But looking back through the beauty of hindsight, after years of faulty thinking, there were countless times where I could have been a little bit more patient, had a little bit more empathy, and just had a little bit more emotional intelligence. And like many other people, I had been taught to suppress them. Be strong, they said. Show no weakness. And sadly, when we deny ourselves to feel, we deny ourselves the ability to learn from the feedback from our emotions. And we go on to struggle in social interactions, relationships, and ultimately we fail ourselves in the assault course of life, leading to a whole host of problems. And the older and wiser me is very much aware of my emotions and to check in with myself from time to time on several levels, before allowing them to have the final say. And I've learnt that emotions are just a feedback in life, telling us if something isn't right or not. Like pain when you stub your toe on a corner of something, you know when you approach that same turn to approach it with caution. It's like the sadness of being alone. It teaches us to value and nurture those relationships that we do have. They are simply just biological signals pushing us to go in the right direction in order for change. And in this video, I wanted to explore some key areas in order to envision a greater insight into some of our most perplexing behaviours and moments in our own lives and the world around us. Self-awareness is something that most people can learn to improve on, but it takes some hard work and some bitter truths. Because like I've said in one of my previous videos, in life there is a lot of pain, and we subconsciously drown ourselves in a sea of distractions. I bet if you were to estimate how much time you spend on your devices, it would drastically differ from the actual amount. We think we spend enough time at work than we actually do, with our friends, our loved ones. We think we are more present than we actually are. But most of the time we're distracted on unnecessary things, and if only we were more aware of these distractions. To eliminate these compulsions, you need to be aware of it. When you're engaged in an activity that you don't really want to be, when are you mentally checking out, and why? What is that? Is it a distraction from work that depresses you? Is it an escape from a reality that you already face? The more you become aware of your own emotions and desires, the more you can discover something terrifying. A large percentage of our thoughts, our arguments, our actions are merely just reflections of what we are feeling in that moment. And in my teens, if anyone even made a comment of me not smiling in a picture, I would immediately get defensive and think that they were talking about my teeth. For many years, I used to hate them, so much so that I would avoid the camera, trying to get in a position in the back where hopefully nobody would notice me. And when I couldn't get out of it, I wouldn't smile. And I would distract myself getting lost in magazines, looking at models who seemingly looked fit and had an aesthetically pleasing smile. And I would daydream, maybe one day if I had a smile like that, maybe I'll just be a little bit more confident. And I would hypothesize about all these maybes. Those feelings of inadequacies were very much amplified during that time in my life. An emotion that was probably feeding into the beast of distraction. Yes, you heard right, some emotions can be distractions for more relevant ones. Because why should we feel inadequate? It kind of feels like a pointless emotion. And this is simply just the first level of self-awareness. To be aware of where your mind goes, and then being able to rein it in when necessary. And the more you can remove yourself from distractions, the more time you can focus on emotions that you've probably been avoiding for a very long time. And for me, self-awareness comes down to two parts. When you feel aware of how other people perceive you in social interactions. And with external self-awareness, it's better to strive for objectivity, not taking things too personally. Too much focus on how others perceive you can cloud your individual decision capabilities, and sometimes can make you cave into peer pressure. Understand how others perceive you, but maintain your own individuality too. Internal self-awareness. Thinking about your own thoughts and your sense of self. when you pass from dwelling on past behavior and actions. And on the contrary, some may lack total self-awareness and feel engulfed by their emotions, helpless to escape them and lost, rather than having some perspective. And as a result, they do little to escape their bad moods because they have no control over their emotional life. Self-management. Now we're getting a little bit deeper. Let's get real specific about what you're feeling. A lot of us try to reason with our emotions. Thought biases that lead us to what we feel as justification for something to be true, even when there might be plenty of evidence to suggest otherwise. Emotional reasoning might be telling you that something is wrong. Maybe you failed at something. It could be a project at work that you've just performed okay at, but your brain knows that you haven't won, hence the low mood, followed by the stress and exhaustion that you're feeling. When you're struggling with a low mood, it could be that one thing that sets you off and write off the whole day or maybe even the week. When we see those one-off events as a sign that it's going to be one of those days, you might say to yourself, nothing is going your way, and it never does. You may start asking the universe to give you a break, because like nails on a chalkboard, life is against you. And you start to reason with this ideology. But what if you had the ability to glance through a range of possible responses, and thereafter choosing the one that leads to a more preferable outcome? This basically means taking into consideration the autopilot that we are mostly all running on. And think about the trigger moments, the emotional response, and overriding it when necessary. For example, a while back, my default response whenever my boss was questioning me when something went wrong, asking me multiple questions, I would feel defensive and feel like he was blaming me or my team, and I would feel irritated. And after some trial and error, it took time to fine-tune my responses to a more favourable outcome, because trust me, you can deflate any situation with the right questions. Rather than having these invariable and automatic responses, I had to learn to be assertive and express my feelings directly. Social awareness. Connection, trust, and respect are all vital aspects and pieces in developing social awareness. And as soon as you hear the word social, you probably immediately think people. People from different backgrounds, genders, and cultures. Being socially aware allows you to learn from different people and empathizing with them, knowing how to respond to information. When you sense someone isn't feeling their best, maybe you might take some extra care when talking to them. Real emotional understanding goes far beyond thinking about yourself. To be able to listen to others without bringing any present biases, all of your internal filters should be shut off before engaging in conversation with another person. This helps you listen to what they're saying rather than hearing what you want to hear. And from that, realizing how these forces influence feeling and behavior. And the more open we are to emotions, the more better we become at reading them. And when I think about emotions, they are rarely ever verbalized or even written down. They are expressed through other cues. And one major key to sensing another person's feelings is the ability to read non-verbal cues. Tone of voice, gestures, and facial expressions. Our emotions can fail us for the simple reasons that emotions never last. Whatever makes you happy today may not be the same thing that makes you happy a month from now. We all seem to feel the need to be more happy, find more love, or pursue a greater purpose. And in essence, we have two minds, one that thinks and one that feels. The emotional and the rational, both in a tight dance with each other, but sometimes they stumble on each other's feet. And when passion surges, the balances tip, and the emotional has the upper hand. And it's this balance that we are always searching for. Temperance, not emotional suppression, and this is just a base of will and character. And every feeling has its value of significance. I mean, the world would be a boring place if nobody had any passion. It would be dull. Emotions mostly simmer underneath this surface of self-awareness, but they have a powerful impact on how we perceive and how we react, even if we have no idea that they're at work. But with a little effort, we can be more cognizant of our emotions that can really be teachers. And that brings me to a close. If you like this video, please smash the like button. If you want to see more videos like this, please subscribe, and I'll see you guys in another video. Bye bye.